All right, we're in chapter 7, and this is section 7.4 on addition and subtraction with unlike denominators. All right, so objectives are going to be finding the least common multiples, then reviewing fractions with unlike denominators, then moving to adding and subtracting rational expressions with unlike denominators, and then solving an application involving rational expressions. All right, so to find the least common multiple of two or more polynomials, that can be done as follows. First, we're going to factor each polynomial completely. Then we're going to list each factor the greatest number of times that it occurs in either factorization. And if there's more than two, then out of all three or however many there are. And then we're going to find the product of this list of factors, and that result's going to be our least common multiple. Okay. Now, let's start with some things like easy ones, and then we'll move up to a little bit harder ones. So with this one, we're going to factor each completely. So that's going to be 2 times 3 times x. That's going to be 3 times 3 times x times x times x times x 4 times. And so that's going to be what we have. Now, remember, we want each factor the most times it appears. So if we look at this, 3 appears twice here, but only once here. 2 occurs once here, but not here, and x occurs 4 times here and only once here. So we're going to use the most of each time. So we're going to use a 2, 2 3s, and 4x's. And so we're going to list it the most times. So that's going to be a 3 times 3 times 2 times x times x times x times x. And if we multiply that all out, that's going to be 18x to the fourth. Okay, so that's going to be our LCM on this one. Now, what about this other one over here? Well, now we have to factor those two first before we can do anything. And so when we factor the first one, we're going to have x plus 3 times x plus 4, and that gives us our 7 in the middle and a 12 here. And we factor this one, that's going to be 4 and 4. And so now we've got, in this case, x plus 4 two times. Here it's only once. And here we have an x plus 3 once, but not here. And so those are our three factors that we're going to have and for our this one. And so we have an x plus 3, an x plus 4, and an x plus 4. And if we multiply that out, our LCM is this. Now, when I would do this, I would leave it in this factored form because what might happen is you might have to cancel an enumerator when you're done, and then you'd have to refactor this again, and that's not going to be fun, especially when you have something with a cube in it, because this will be an x squared times an x, so that'll give us an x cubed. And so leave it in the most factored form until the very end. And then if it says to multiply back out, do that. But if it doesn't, leave it in a factored form, and that's going to be the best to show that you don't have to have anything cancel in the numerator and denominator. All right, so let's stop there and we'll come back for some actual problems.